Have you ever clenched your fists so tightly that your own grip started to hurt? Maybe it was stress, fear, or a painful memory, something you couldn't let go of, even though deep down, you knew holding on was only making things worse. We all do this in some way. We hold on to past mistakes, relationships that no longer serve us, worries about the future. We convince ourselves that if we cling just a little harder, we'll somehow regain control. But here's the truth: control is an illusion, and in the pursuit of it, we create our own suffering. Now, imagine for a moment loosening that grip. Imagine releasing the tension, watching it drift away like a leaf on a quiet stream. What if the peace we're searching for isn't found in grasping, but in letting go? That's exactly what we're exploring today: how the wisdom of Buddhism teaches us to let go of anxiety, fear, and regret, and step into a life of true tranquility. This isn't about giving up or walking away. It's about freeing yourself from the weight you no longer need to carry. By the end of this video, you'll have practical techniques to bring more peace into your life, powerful insights on why letting go is transformative, and maybe, just maybe, a new perspective that will shift how you see the world. So, if you're ready to release what no longer serves you, stay with me. And if you find value in this journey, don't forget to like this video. It helps more people discover this path to inner peace. Let's begin. 1. Why is letting go so hard? Have you ever felt trapped by your own thoughts? That restless feeling, the cycle of regret, the endless replaying of what could have been, these patterns can hold us hostage. And for many, the inability to let go stems from one powerful force: attachment. Take the story of David, a successful businessman who built his career from the ground up. For decades, his company thrived, his decisions shaped his industry, and his identity became inseparable from his work. But when the market shifted and his business suffered a massive loss, David was devastated. Instead of adapting and moving forward, he clung to his past successes, believing that if only he had done things differently, he could have prevented the failure. His thoughts became his prison. Every sleepless night was filled with regret, replaying scenarios, questioning his own worth. But here's the truth: attachment is the root of suffering, a core teaching of Buddhism. We suffer not because of loss itself, but because we resist the reality of change. We hold on to control, believing that if we just analyze, fix, or wish hard enough, we can force life to be predictable. The science behind attachment. Interestingly, neuroscience supports this idea. Studies show that our brains are wired to seek certainty. Predictability creates a sense of safety. When we lose something important, our brain fights against it, trying to restore order. This explains why heartbreak, financial losses, or even a change in routine can feel overwhelmingly painful. But Buddhism offers an alternative. Rather than seeking control, we can practice acceptance. Instead of seeing life as something to control, what if we saw it as something to experience? Imagine standing by a river. If you try to grab water with your fists, it slips through your fingers. But if you relax your hands, the water flows freely, touching your skin before passing gently on its way. The Buddhist perspective on letting go. Buddhism teaches that everything is impermanent, everything changes, everything fades, everything evolves. Holding on is like resisting the nature of life itself. This doesn't mean we shouldn't care or try our best. It means that our peace should not depend on rigid expectations. When Buddha spoke of suffering, he compared it to carrying a heavy sack on your back. At first, you may not notice the weight, but as time passes, the burden grows unbearable. The question is, why are we carrying it at all? David, after months of turmoil, discovered meditation. At first, the idea seemed pointless. How could sitting in silence help his business recover? But through practice, he realized something profound. His suffering wasn't coming from the loss itself, but from his resistance to it. The business was gone, yes, but the weight of self-blame, the refusal to accept reality, that was what kept him awake at night. So he asked himself, what if I just stopped fighting it? A gentle transition. Where do we go from here? Letting go is not about erasing the past. It's about giving yourself permission to step forward without carrying its weight. So ask yourself, what are you holding on to that is no longer serving you? In the next section, we'll explore the misconceptions about letting go, because it's not about giving up, but about making space for something new. If this resonates with you so far, don't forget to like this video. It helps bring these insights to more people seeking clarity. Let's keep going. 2. Letting go is not giving up, embracing impermanence. The gentle fall of a lotus petal. A single lotus petal drifts onto the surface of the water, carried by the rhythm of nature. It does not resist, nor does it cling to its branch. It simply follows the flow, an elegant metaphor for impermanence, a truth embedded in both Buddhist philosophy and the natural world. We all experience impermanence. Relationships evolve, careers shift, health fluctuates, and the seasons of life change. Yet, so often, we resist this truth, believing that holding on will preserve stability. But resistance only deepens suffering. True freedom lies in understanding that letting go is not giving up, it is embracing life's fluidity with grace. The science of change. Why our brains struggle with impermanence. From a neuroscientific perspective, humans crave stability. Our brains are wired to seek patterns, predictability, and certainty. The limbic system, responsible for emotion and memory, often reacts to change with anxiety because the unknown triggers a survival response. This is why loss, whether of a person, a dream, or even an idea, can feel unsettling. However, modern psychology supports Buddhist teachings. Acceptance of impermanence can lead to profound emotional resilience. Studies show that mindfulness practices help rewire the brain, reducing stress and increasing emotional flexibility. When we stop grasping at permanence, we create space for inner peace. The art of letting go. Letting go does not mean apathy, nor does it mean surrendering to hopelessness. It means consciously choosing how to respond to life's inevitable changes. Consider these principles inspired by Buddhist wisdom and supported by psychological research. 1. Acceptance over resistance. Imagine a river flowing. If you fight the current, you exhaust yourself. But if you navigate with the flow, you move forward effortlessly. Acceptance does not mean passivity, it means recognizing reality and responding wisely. 2. The present is the only truth. Dwelling on the past or worrying about the future distracts from the only moment we truly have, the present. Buddhist teachings emphasize mindful awareness, which psychologists confirm can lower anxiety and increase life satisfaction. 3. Growth through release. When a tree sheds old leaves, it makes room for new growth. Letting go of outdated beliefs, toxic relationships, or unfulfilled expectations allows transformation. Neuroscience shows that adapting to change strengthens neural connections, fostering growth. A story of renewal. Years ago, a man named Daniel lost his job. For months, he fought against reality, clinging to resentment. But one evening, while sitting by a lake, he noticed a single lotus petal fall onto the water. It drifted gently, unhindered. In that moment, he realized he had been resisting his own evolution. Inspired, he embraced uncertainty, pursued his long-dormant passion for writing, and built a fulfilling new career. Letting go led to renewal. His experience was not about giving up, it was about trusting life's rhythm. What would change if you truly accepted impermanence? Imagine facing life's transitions with openness rather than fear. Imagine responding to uncertainty with wisdom instead of resistance. Would you live with greater peace? Would you find new opportunities in endings? Buddhist philosophy teaches that impermanence is not a threat, it is a gateway. And science affirms that embracing change fosters resilience. The choice is ours: struggle against the inevitable or move with life's currents. Just as the lotus petal rests upon the water, so too can we learn to float with grace. 3. Learning to let go, the Buddhist path to inner peace. The power of a single breath. Have you ever felt peace just by focusing on your breath? For years, Laura had never considered such a possibility. A hard-working woman in her mid-50s, she had spent most of her life juggling responsibilities, raising children, managing a demanding career, and tending to aging parents. The stress had become a constant companion, tightening in her chest, stealing her sleep, and clouding her mind. One evening, exhausted and overwhelmed, she attended a meditation class out of desperation rather than belief. As the instructor guided the group through mindful breathing, she struggled to quiet her restless thoughts. But then, something shifted. She noticed her breath, not just as an automatic function but as a gentle rhythm of life, flowing in and out, requiring nothing but awareness. In that moment, she felt an unfamiliar sensation: stillness. The science behind mindfulness. Buddhist teachings on mindfulness have long emphasized the importance of breath as an anchor, a simple yet profound tool to cultivate presence. Science confirms what monks and sages have practiced for centuries: meditation rewires the brain, reduces stress, and enhances emotional regulation. Research in neuroscience shows that focusing on the breath activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps counteract the effects of stress by lowering heart rate and blood pressure. Studies at institutions like Harvard have revealed that mindfulness strengthens the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for self-awareness and decision-making. In Buddhist philosophy, the breath is more than a physiological function, it is a reminder of impermanence. Each inhale is new, each exhale releases what no longer serves us. Learning to follow this cycle teaches us the art of letting go. The practice of letting go. Letting go is not passive surrender, it is an active, conscious choice. In Buddhist thought, clinging to emotions, identities, or expectations creates suffering. Through mindfulness meditation, we learn to release these attachments, allowing life to flow naturally. Consider these essential practices. 1. Breath awareness as a reset. When overwhelmed, pause and focus on your breath. Observe its movement without judgment. This simple act breaks the cycle of stress and brings clarity to the present moment. 2. Recognizing thoughts without attachment. Buddhist meditation does not aim to erase thoughts but to change our relationship with them. Instead of being consumed by worry, we learn to see thoughts as passing clouds, acknowledge them, then let them drift away. 3. Compassion toward oneself. Often, we hold on to resentment toward ourselves, regrets, guilt, unrealistic expectations. Buddhist teachings encourage self-compassion, allowing us to forgive, grow, and move forward without unnecessary burdens. A transformation through stillness. Laura's journey into meditation was not immediate enlightenment, it was a gradual shift. Some days, her mind resisted the practice, filled with distractions. Other days, she found profound comfort in the silence between breaths. Months later, she reflected on how she had changed. The stress that once dictated her life no longer had the same hold. When difficulties arose, she did not fight them, she acknowledged, breathed, and responded with clarity. She had not abandoned responsibility, nor had she given up on ambition. She had simply learned how to move through life with greater ease, one breath at a time. The gentle power of letting go. Meditation teaches us that every breath is a chance for transformation. When we stop resisting the present and instead welcome it with awareness, we discover freedom, not in control, but in acceptance. What would change in your life if you truly embraced each moment as it is? Just as Laura found peace through mindful breathing, so too can we cultivate stillness amid life's chaos. The practice is simple: inhale, exhale, let go. 4. Practical exercises for letting go, a Buddhist approach to freedom. The weight we carry. What's one thing you're holding on to that no longer serves you? For years, Mark held on to an unresolved resentment toward his brother. A single argument, words spoken in anger, had placed an invisible wall between them. Every time he thought about calling, his pride stopped him. The weight of that emotion lingered, clouding his mind like a heavy mist. One evening, a friend encouraged him to try a Buddhist practice of symbolic release. Skeptical but willing, he wrote down his frustration on paper, folded it, and set it aflame. As the smoke curled into the air, he felt something shift. It was not immediate forgiveness, nor was it an erasure of pain. But for the first time, he saw his resentment for what it was, a burden he could choose to set down. The science behind letting go. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment, whether to emotions, possessions, or identities, is seen as a source of suffering. Neuroscience supports this perspective. Holding on to negative emotions activates the amygdala, the brain center for fear and stress. Studies show that rumination increases anxiety and disrupts cognitive function. Psychologists have found that symbolic release rituals, such as writing worries down and destroying them, can have a profound effect on emotional well-being. These practices create a tangible moment of acknowledgement and liberation, signaling to the brain that it is safe to move forward. Small steps toward freedom. Letting go is not about instant transformation, it is a gradual practice. Here are 3 exercises inspired by Buddhist teachings, supported by psychology. 1. The paper and fire ritual. Write down a worry, regret, or lingering resentment. Reflect on why it weighs you down. Burn the paper safely, watching the words disappear. This practice, often used in mindfulness retreats, is not about forgetting but about choosing release. 2. The river meditation. Sit quietly and visualize a flowing river. Imagine placing your burdens into leaves and watching them drift away. This exercise trains the mind to see thoughts as temporary, flowing in, flowing out. 3. Breath and mantra practice. With each inhale, silently say, I welcome peace. With each exhale, I release what no longer serves me. Over time, this practice rewires thought patterns, reinforcing clarity and acceptance. A story of transformation. After Mark's symbolic burning ritual, he didn't suddenly feel the urge to reconcile. But he felt lighter, as though a long-carried stone had been lifted from his hands. Days later, he finally called his brother. Their conversation wasn't perfect, but it was real. And for the first time in years, the wall between them began to crumble. Letting go is not about erasing pain or pretending wounds don't exist. It is about loosening our grip on emotions that weigh us down, trusting that life will carry us forward. Embracing the freedom of release. Imagine what would change if you practiced letting go, not just once, but as a way of life. Imagine replacing resentment with peace, fear with clarity, and doubt with trust. Each step may be small, but together, they create a path toward a lighter, freer existence. 5. How life transforms when we let go. Stepping into the light. Can you imagine a life where you feel truly free? There was a time when Emily couldn't. She had spent years weighed down by regret, decisions she wished she had made differently, relationships that had faded, moments she had clung to even when they had long passed. The weight was invisible, yet it shaped everything: her posture, her energy, even her ability to experience joy. One morning, she stood outside, the warmth of the sun on her skin, and asked herself, "What am I holding on to that no longer serves me?" The answer was immediate. And with that realization, she felt something shift, a possibility she had never considered. What if she chose to release the past, not because it didn't matter, but because she no longer needed to carry its weight? The Buddhist perspective: letting go is freedom. In Buddhist philosophy, attachment is seen as a root cause of suffering. We grasp at moments, identities, emotions, believing that holding on will keep us safe. Yet, life is impermanent, always shifting, always unfolding. Clinging only creates resistance. True freedom is found not in control, but in acceptance. The Buddha taught that letting go is not loss, but liberation. When we release expectations, past wounds, and limiting beliefs, we make space for something deeper: peace, clarity, and the ability to fully embrace the present. The science behind inner peace. Psychological research confirms this wisdom: letting go enhances well-being. Studies show that people who practice acceptance experience lower stress, improved emotional resilience, and greater overall happiness. Neuroscience reveals that dwelling on the past activates the default mode network, DMN, of the brain, which is linked to rumination and anxiety. Mindfulness, on the other hand, strengthens the prefrontal cortex, helping us regulate emotions and respond to life with greater ease. In essence, Buddhist teachings and modern science align: the mind finds peace not in gripping tighter, but in learning to release. How to embrace the freedom of letting go. Letting go is a practice, not a single decision. Here are 3 exercises to cultivate inner peace and freedom. 1. The open hands meditation. Sit quietly, place your hands palms up on your lap. Imagine placing your worries into your open hands. Visualize them dissolving, leaving space for lightness and clarity. This practice reinforces the idea that release is a choice, available in every moment. 2. The gratitude shift. Instead of focusing on what has been lost, reflect on what remains. Gratitude rewires the brain, shifting the focus from scarcity to abundance. Research shows that gratitude activates the dopamine system, increasing feelings of contentment and fulfillment. 3. The breath of release. With each inhale, welcome openness. With each exhale, silently say, "I release what no longer serves me." Over time, this breathing technique trains the mind to respond to life's changes with grace rather than resistance. A life transformed. Months after that morning in the sun, Emily felt lighter. She hadn't erased her past, but she had stopped carrying it as a burden. With each step forward, she chose to meet life as it was, rather than as she wished it had been. Letting go had not taken anything away from her; instead, it had given her back to herself. The beauty of release. Imagine living with ease, moving freely, unburdened, trusting the flow of life. Imagine stepping into each day with open hands, ready to embrace what comes, no longer bound by what has passed. Letting go is not losing. It is returning to the natural rhythm of existence, one that is lighter, freer, infinitely more alive. Conclusion: your journey begins today. Letting go is not about losing, it's about gaining freedom. Throughout this journey, we've explored how acceptance, mindfulness, and release can transform our lives, leading us to greater inner peace. Remember, impermanence is a natural part of life. Resisting change creates suffering, but embracing it brings clarity. Mindfulness helps us detach from burdens, whether emotional, mental, or physical, by focusing on the present. Practical exercises like breath meditation, symbolic release, and gratitude shifts make letting go a daily practice. Letting go doesn't mean giving up, it means trusting the rhythm of life and stepping into a lighter, freer existence. One person's transformation can be a beacon for others. Imagine a life where you wake up each day unburdened, open to new possibilities, and at peace with the flow of existence. If you took just one step toward letting go today, what would it be? Your journey begins now. Take a deep breath. Release what no longer serves you. Move forward with ease. If this message resonated with you, like, comment, and subscribe to Life Lessons for more insights on growth, mindfulness, and living with purpose. Let's walk this path together.